Y'all hear me? All right. Happy Friday, everybody. East of Eden grower Creedmoor Fury coming to you from my happy place. I'm sitting beside my garden, and 30 days have passed. 30 great days have passed. Lots of things going on in the garden, but the most important thing that's going on in the garden right now is I'm going to complete the process of making my 30-day fish hydrolysate. A month ago, I made this really simple fish hydrolysate where I just went out and I caught a fish in my pond, a bass, freshwater fish, and dropped it in the pail, and literally in like 10 minutes I was done making roughly 1.5 gallons or 2 gallons of fish hydrolysate. We're actually going to find out how much I made today. But this is the day. So, you know, I've mentioned before how it really only takes 30 days, and it's been a month. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to turn you around, I'm going to show you my whole setup. Start out with a pail that I cleaned. Plastic. That's what we got to use. And it fermented in there for 30 days. Then I cleaned a second pail that's 2 gallons. That way we can strain it all off through a lingerie bag. And if there's anything large, any large particulate matter, any bones or scales that are left over, you know, they won't convey. So let's turn around and let's see what that looks like. All right, there's a fermentation vessel right there with the airlock, and I'll go a little bit lower, and there is the container that I'm going to use. I just cleaned that a few minutes ago to strain the fish hydrolysate. And then you can see the 1 gallon container that has a little bit from last year. Maybe it had a quart left. I'm going to see what I can get into that after I complete the straining process. So see how that goes. It's relatively simple and straightforward. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. We have to be patient. Seems like patience is a virtue when it comes to gardening. Let's just pour this through this woolite bag. The woolite bag is going to capture pretty much everything that we don't want to end up in the fertilizer. You know, I like to try to keep it clean because if I'm going to spray this stuff ever, I don't want there to be too many solids in it. You can now see a little bit of what did not break down. Okay, so there are maybe a few pieces of scales. The bone's gone. Everything is gone. I mean, I literally just dropped the fish in there, added the rest of the stuff, and waited. Okay? So what I want y'all to do is look at that other video. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video, and you'll see how simple it is to make this stuff. But this stuff is awesome. The reason why it's so awesome is because I didn't strip out any of the amino acids. I didn't strip out the essential fatty acids. I didn't strip anything out of it. It's all there. It's really all there. There isn't even, you know, much salt because it came from a freshwater fish. So now here you can see all I have to do is take the squeeze clamp off and collect this bag. Just lift it gently. Try to watch out for this fly. McFly is here. And we're going to let that drain off right into this pail. Okay? It takes a few minutes. Like I said, you got to be patient. But for those who are patient, there's a lot of reward comes from this. There you can probably see it's coming out a little at a time. Now, and there's nothing in here that's going to harm you. Really, there's nothing. So we just want to try and get as much of that out as is possible. You know, if you have to touch it, you can always wash your hands later. And if there turns out that there's a lot of matter left in here, you can always set it in the pail with a little bit of the rest of its solution and it'll continue to ferment. But I don't believe that's going to be the case. So here you can kind of see how simple that is to just let that drip down and drip in. Take the squeeze clamp, put it there just like that. It'll continue to drip down into there. I can go do another chore. You know, maybe I can clean this pail out a little bit. I can get the next batch ready. Even here, you know, I mean, get yourself ready so that once this is all completely dripped out of the filter bag, you can pour it right into this container. This is an old fish emulsion container. We don't use fish emulsion anymore. Now we primarily use the fish hydrolysate because it's a more quality amend for our organic gardens. And I just appreciate the way the plants respond to it. And I'm fairly satisfied that we've got quite a bit of it out. And for all intents and purposes, what I can actually do is take my original pail, because I've got enough right now to fill up Go right back to here. Squeeze clamp on. Strain the stuff as many times as you want. But I do want to show you guys how I go through this, how I've operationalized this. Now I can just very gently, gingerly begin to pour this into there. Stuff is so good, and it doesn't stink. I know a lot of y'all probably think that it stinks, but it doesn't. When you use the airlock for fermenting, there really isn't any stink. All right, so we'll just check, and we're right about here. So I'm going to give it a little bit more. That should do it. We'll put this back into place. Okay. And everything's going to get cleaned up. There you have it. I've got about a full gallon. And what I'm going to do now is switch back. Go ahead and I'll put this right back in here to finish dripping out. And that's all there is to it. So y'all saw how simple that was? Really, there's nothing to it. Let's talk about costs. What about the costs? Well, the only thing that I really have to buy is the low sulfur blackstrap molasses. And it's gotten considerably cheaper. I saw it on Amazon, or some of you may call it Scamazon, for $16 and change delivered to the door the other day. So I guess they have these sales every now and again. It's worth it to take a look. Maybe y'all can find another supplier nearer you so you don't have to order it from who knows where land. But it keeps costs down, because basically what I just achieved here is I've got about 2 gallons of fish hydrolysate. I garden 8,000 square feet, greenhouses, my vineyard. I use a lot of this stuff to make compost tea. 2 gallons is going to last me a long time. It will last me longer than a year, I can tell you that right now. So as far as it being a quality fertilizer goes, it's the best well-rounded fertilizer that I've ever used. That goes for everything. It really does. If you want to improve it, you can get some kelp meal. That goes a long way as well. But other than that, you know, when you've got fish hydrolysate, if you've got some humic acid or some citric acid on hand, even if you have chlorine water or city water, you can do amazing things in your garden, right? So get a watch, make sure you saw how I made it the first time. You can see how I operationalized the last part of it, and it works the same pretty much every single time. I'm gonna go do some chores. I'll come back up with the 2nd gallon in another container. I do like to use the white containers because they tend to well, reflect harmful light, and they seem to allow the microbes that happen to be in there coexisting in the solution to still live. It's all about diversity. It's all about keeping things alive. So anyway, if you like this installment, if you feel like maybe I gave you a couple of golden nuggets about how to keep your plants strong, please hit the like thingy. While you're at it, clicking around, go ahead and click the subscribe thingy. And if it's not too much trouble, click the share thingy and share both videos. Share this one and the other one. People need to know this stuff. They really do. There you have it. There's your Friday installment, folks. Peace. God bless. And the more you know, the more you grow.